Hello, and welcome to the District 3 podcast with Councilwoman Shamika Parrish-Wright of Louisville Metro Council District 3. We've got me, Ben, and Dre here, and a special guest, DaMarrion, and I'll let you take it away, Councilwoman Parrish-Wright.
All right, I'm excited. It's been a while since May, our last podcast, and we wanted to come back. We've had features around housing, around activities that groups like PAVE are doing, and now we have an amazing gentleman I've gotten to know, not just recently, before when I was introduced to his work, and I'm excited to have him here to talk about the work he's doing with our young people in Louisville. His name is DaMarrion. I'll let you introduce your name and just talk about why you do what you do.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is DaMarrion Fleming. I am the executive director and founder of Sowing Seeds with Faith, which is an out-of-school academic enrichment program here, founded in 2017. I think the initial push behind what I do was I was working in the school system, had a lot of issues with how things were being ran, specifically for black and brown boys. And I think one principle I was raised on was either complain or contribute. So instead of complaining about it, I stepped away from the school system and created a program that became a subsidiary to JCPS on how to empower, enrich, and engage youth outside of school hours. So weekends, summers, winter breaks, after school was our goal to try to pull kids into a space that was authentically and genuinely for them to reiterate commonly missed concepts and principles. So what started off as academia quickly became the understanding of mentorship. And when kids trust you, they normally listen to you. So if there was the opportunity to build a relationship with youth, then the kids would be more receptive to the academic component of what's being taught to them by their mentors. So we then pivoted and became a mentor program that implemented academia. And then at the end of my first year of tutoring, we then started a summer program. Summer program started one year with maybe like 45 kids. And over the last 7-8 years, we probably have about over 175 kids in each summer year. We probably impact about 250 to 300 kids in the tutoring aspect. And then our mentoring component is out the roof. I know we probably touch almost 1,000 kids, and that includes HBCU college tours. That includes middle school, high school retreats, all boy, all girl retreats. That includes bike rides, social gatherings, any space that we can pull kids in and teach them and cultivate them and empower them with culture. We do that, and I think it has just spread. I really feel like this was God's assignment to me, and I just kind of embrace it. It's almost like sitting in a room like this and the phone's ringing and you kind of see it ringing and you just send her away because you know once you pick it up, there's going to be something to do. And it happened to embrace that and just happened to be something I was gifted in. This work does get weary, but I believe in if you get not faint with doing good things, then your time will come. So don't grow weary, but it's part of it. I think Sowing Seeds with Faith is the best program in the whole world. I think we have the potential to be a national brand and a national model on how to reiterate commonly missed concepts and principles and empower kids throughout the summer, winter, and spring breaks. So basically what we do is we take all of the kids' free time and idle time and enrich it with something that is invigorating. We give them a safe space to be able to be authentically and genuinely themselves. And then I implement a parent component that allows us to be, trusted and the transfer of power and engagement from the parents to the students. So we all work collectively to be like a village and provide a wraparound services for all the youth.
That's powerful. It really does take a village. And in that, you have an amazing team. And I found out during our tour of your program that our own community engagement strategist, Dre Dawson, worked with your program before. And Dre, do you want to say something about what you did with the program and what you've learned from it?
Like he says, I mean, it's one of the best programs that I've worked with. I teach youth and young adults and grown adults as well, and seniors. So I teach all ages. And I would say I feel like DaMarrion, it's one of the best programs mirrored with mine because you're going to get a lot of academic, right? I tell my students all the time, like mind, body, and spirit is what you need to be working on all the time, and those three things in those places. And so we work. A lot of programs don't see the connection between the three, and so they either do one thing or do two things or do one thing that enriches a whole person. and he's got one of the programs that tries to enrich the whole person, right? Collectively, mind, body, and spirit. I mean, shoot, I struggled with this brother. The first year we came in, we wasn't getting paid. You know what I mean? But I believed in him. And another thing he don't say is our parents used to go to church together. Oh, so I think that's
that village.
Yeah, I think that's where we connected at first. Not through church, but once we saw each other, I was like, no, I know you. And then from there, I knew he was a good brother, so I believed in him. I knew exactly what he was trying to do, and I knew it came from the heart. You know what I mean? So you know me, I put my everything behind the horse that I'm with. So for like the first 2-3 years, yeah, we was in there just building it up, man. I love some of the kids. When we went back for the tour, they all grown and stuff. I'm like, what's looking up? Like, what's your name? They like, what's up, Sensei?
we learned a lot. I mean, I personally learned a lot from Dre. I think if you bring people around into something that you create, it got to be something that somebody can bring something to the table. He brought quite a bit to the table, not even on just a professional level, on a personal level. When he pulled me to the side, like, man, how you taking care of yourself? You know, what are you doing to, you know, turn this off? And what are the spaces you have and the gaps you have? And, you know, what do you need? So when Dre had transitioned, like, man, I'm about to start doing this from a different stance. I really didn't understand. He really didn't say much. Dre just kind of disappears and he reappears with some really dope.
He sure does.
And we was like, you know, he was like, man, I'm about to pivot. And I didn't know he was coming from a political standpoint. He's like, man, it's time to impact policy and procedures and processes and make sure that programs like yours are getting a platform it deserves and desires. So when you have somebody like that into your space, man, you the only thing to do is to really just listen. Right. And he was well respected from kids, parents, students, and teachers. And no matter who you was, when you went in his space, whatever they was doing, you was doing. So if it's quiet time, you come in there and as an adult and you quiet until it's time to talk. He was very adamant about creating a space, which I learned from him. Like, man, whatever you create, people have to respect that. And if they want to be a part of something, they willing to wait until it's their time. And he taught me that. He taught me also, man, you are in control, but doesn't mean you have to have the control. Right. It's okay to delegate power, give people opportunities to be the best version of themselves. And I learned that from him. He was like, man, you got this shit, but nobody wins nothing by themselves. So you need to empower your team, too, which I seen every time Dre came, he either came with a student, somebody who aspired to be great, somebody that he either learned with, or is teaching. So I realized he always kept somebody around him that either kept him sharp no matter what he was doing. If it was a baby, 14, 15 year, he always had somebody in his pocket. So I learned that the mentorship is about also showing people what you do and not just telling them. So I feel like that about anybody who comes in, man, like, I got an idea. I'm like, yeah, but what does your idea bring to the table? And what can we learn? What the kids can learn, but what is the adults? What can we learn from this idea and this concept? I feel like God gave us a platform. We have over 1,000 kids. So anybody who wants to do something great, yeah, I got the platform. And kids is honest. I think kids are going to tell you brutally if your program is doo-doo or if your program is awesome, and they will show you that. And when people come in there, I can tell you one thing: Dre has never came and said, "Man, them kids is bad." He has never said that.
No, he don't talk like
that. He never said that. You know what he said? He said, "Man, I'll be back next week. This week was challenging, but I got something for him." So he always came back with an invigorating way to be more impactful and more powerful. And like, okay, y'all want to talk, and this is how you talk. Get on the carpet. You're going to earn your right to talk. And kids, man, they couldn't wait to get down there to this class, man. He's let them wrestle, man, on their knee. And he didn't believe in gender, sex, or size.
All right.
Right? If you talking that talk, boy, girl, two girls, one boy.
Yeah, all of
you got a chance to go ahead and show. And girls start realizing that just because I'm a girl, I can't be strong. Or just because I am a boy, it's bigger than strength. You got to be smart, too, and technical. Right? So you got to be able to think with your talent. And when talent means talent, then what? Right. You better have a skill set. You better have a patience. Yep. You better be able to think in controversy, and you better be able to persevere through adversity. And that's what he taught, not just the kids, but he taught the whole group that came with Sowing Seeds of Faith.
I love that. The learning is reciprocated, and every time you spoke, all these words and images kept firing off. In 2019, Dre and I started working more together, but Dre has been a part of not one, two, but all three of my campaigns. And we were co-chairs together, and we weathered the Justice for Breonna Taylor movement together. But what was interesting to see And in all those campaigns, I probably only gave him one paycheck and now a job, right? So,
Dre is the epitome of purpose and not
yes,
power.
definitely
You know what I mean?
purpose. I love Dre, and
Purpose,
Dre is so important to our work too. That's why when I decided to run for this seat, I said I didn't want to do it without him, and I didn't want to do it without somebody that's going to be genuinely engaging the community in a real way, meeting them where they at, asking them what's going on, because you're pulled in so many different directions, constituent concerns. And of course, there's policy and legislation. There's issues that people have in the community that come up. But there's a big piece about the young people that our office hasn't even been able to really dive into yet. Like, we're almost 10 months in, and we're still trying to find our way with some of this. And when we talk to a lot of the people who are engaged in participating in democracy, they're more focused on their issues, right? It's always like, yeah, I want to be safe, but they're more about keep my neighborhood beautiful. And like, who's talking to the kids? And so to learn about your program, I learned about your program while I was running for mayor. And I learned about you through Jocelyn, and Jocelyn was helping on my campaign. And when I came to both of my boys went to Maupin, and when I saw that and I learned about what you did, it was phenomenal. And it reminded me when I ran a summer camp just for 5 years through the Kentucky Alliance. We started out as all girls and then just kept growing. Bonnie Hines Hudson, who was married to the late Dr. J. Blaine Hudson, who was one of my mentors. She decided that, hey, I'm going to pass this program on to you, Shamika, because I need to go be his wife. Now he's the dean, right, of a college that he once took over the office when he was a young person. So I said, okay, and I took it, and the late Ann Braden was there, and I was like, I'll run this. And then after that, we went co-ed, and we did 11 to 17-year-olds. And just in those 3 weeks, every summer, was mind-blowing. What I learned from them, how they were treated. We exposed them to activists and artists, and we tried to show how art and activism work together, and it was a huge success. And now, like Dre, and you not only help get those kids through and have worked through this for years, now you bring some of the folks back, and they work with you. And then for my son, James, I didn't even make the connection of your program and what the opportunity he had to work with your program until he said, yeah, I'm working with this gentleman, and he said your name, and I was like, whoa, that's the program that you're in? And it was phenomenal because it's so hard for him to get engaged. He's a very laid back person. And so I knew how effective it was just from personally, but then to learn from Dre and Jocelyn, everyone else that I've met in the community that knows what you do, it's just amazing. And I was like, why don't I see this on every news station? Why don't I see this in every newspaper? Why aren't you should have your own brick and mortar? I want to see you have your own building. Like literally, you are running an academy, a successful academy.
Kept exclusive.
That's right. I see. And so I thought when Dre made the suggestion of you coming to our next podcast, I thought, what a way to also share our platform and to lead from behind and tell us how can people like us in whatever career we're in or whatever we're doing in Louisville, whether we just can give or donate time or give support, how can we support what you're doing to keep it going and growing?
I always tell people that your time, talent, and treasure. I feel like that your time is probably the most instrumental part, is that be able to come and be able to give your story and testimony to the youth. I feel like the only thing that's going to save these kids is the truth. I feel like social media, rap music, and sports is kind of is a deceitful lie sometimes, and they buy into it, not really understanding the instruments, not understanding the variables that are played for in their favor or against them. And also tell people that don't send a check, bring a check. Of course, money is a difference, but I want you to come and see exactly who and what you're investing in. So we tell people whenever you have $1 to give, pull up, meet the kids, have a conversation with the kids, and then, be compelled to give. I also feel like that everybody has a gift inside of them, both professionally and personally. Sometimes life doesn't allow both of those to be coincide. So whatever you do as a gift is just something as a hobby. Very few get the opportunity to let their gift be the way they make their money. So I say come share both. Come share what you studied to become, and come share what God allowed you to become. I feel like that everybody has a story, and those stories also can sow seeds into these kids too, to know that there's a black woman in the council seat. So that means I can do that.
Right.
That is possible. It's tangible. I physically reached out and touched it. It's not a dream. It's a reality. I tell people that what you have to say and what you went through, your testimony might be the difference between life and death for somebody. We tell the kids that as parents and adults, our job is to just give you a helmet because you're going to hit your head. So we don't want you not to hit your head. We just don't want it to cause you to get stitches this time, right? Well, so if we can change, if we can transfer stitches to a knot, then we've done something better, right? And then you're gonna give a kid a helmet, and they want to get a knot to be a bruise, and eventually, generation on generation, we no longer hitting our head in the same spots, right? We have all went through life for somebody, so they don't have to go through life in the same way we went through. We tell people leave breadcrumbs, so wherever you go, create a trail, create a journey, journal that, so when kids come back, like, I know exactly what I need to do. The path has been, written. I know exactly where I need to go, who I need to talk to, how I need to get there. And then lastly, man, resources. Yeah. And I think people in this city sometimes can be gatekeeping with resources. So we ask people that whoever or whatever you have access to, allow that to flow through you. You know what I mean? Not make people come to you, allowed to go through you. So we're like, man, I met this guy. He can do this to her. Some kid that need to look, boom, connection. Right. And it doesn't have to be audio, video every time that you helping somebody. You know what I mean? That's right. I think the best gifts are those that go and notice, and then they bear fruit, and then everybody can eat from it. And then eventually the tree's they're going to know who's planted the tree. That's true. Right. So I feel like our program has many ways to be supportive and be helpful. I think you all coming out this summer. Just coming through and just showing your face and letting the kids see that people are supporting us. They don't know you and you don't know them, but they're like, man, somebody came in and said we was doing a good job. Somebody came and loved on us today. Somebody came and encouraged us today. We don't know how often they don't hear that throughout the school year. Some of these teachers are overwhelmed. Right. They don't get off the time to say, I'm proud of you or good job. So when they hear it from somebody who look like them, walk like them, and talk like them, it means a little more. So
I was going to ask you, because that brings me to a question, like how important is not only mentorship in the kids that you work with, but how important is black male mentorship?
It's the difference between life and death.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Daddy issues is just not for females. We associate daddy issues with girls. A lot of the crime is because I didn't have a daddy that told me not to, or a man. A few of my friends and I, we work with a program called Hope by Hope, and
been Levi, around a while.
Yeah. So I've literally watched these dudes walk up to guys and say, "Here, give it her." And there was no argument, there was no back and forth. Here, and I said, if y'all can unarm them just like that, why are you not doing it? He said, because they've already jumped off the porch. Yeah. So we don't, a kid gonna tell respectfully, Mr. Fleming, I can't get caught slipping now. I've made a bad decision that I have to deal with. Yep. So once I understood the power of a black man, it became essential that I do what I do. Right. And the worst part about this is that I have to be on my P's and Q's both professionally and personally at all times. So I signed up for a lifestyle that required me to change as a father, as a leader, as a son, as a brother. Yeah. It impacted my whole life. Yeah. I can't just go to work, do my job, and go home and live my life. You know what I mean? All of it is connected. Yeah. Right. So
they watching everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Right? And kids, they people never remember what you say or what you do. They remember how you made them feel.
How you made them feel. Yep.
Right. So if I can make you feel great in a moment, you're gonna come back. Yeah. And you're gonna be great, and you're gonna love on me a little different. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But once you lose their respect, you ain't getting it back.
That's right.
Yeah.
So speaking of that respect, just thinking about so you are actually one of our constituents because you live in District 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you do your work. It permeates a lot of the districts. So can you talk about where you're located and where the districts your kids come from? Thinking about the 26 districts, thinking about, I know the big goal is to get that brick and mortar. But until then, can you talk about how your young people come from all over the city?
So we don't do any marketing. It was very intentional. You know what the best marketing in the world is?
Word of mouth.
Yep.
So if you're doing great things, great people will find you. And we was very intentional about that from a board perspective. We're not going to put up a billboard, a staple a sign to a pole. We're just going to post our stories, and just people going to come find it.
Yeah. Right.
We have kids that come from different states for summers.
Wow.
That live with host families.
Wow.
Who come from border schools to live with host families. People who go stay with grandma and grandma just so I can go to so-and-so's faith summer camp. We have about 15 of those kids.
Wow.
So I couldn't tell you who come from what district. We don't ask for no income information. We don't ask for none of that. That's unimportant to us.
I love the low barrier.
So we are who we are, and we have had summer camp in probably every district.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Our summer camp this year was, what district is that I was in this summer?
Crescent Hill. That's,
I think it was 8. Was it 8?
Is it 8?
Or
9?
9.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you, but I don't. And the council, whoever the council member, he came or she came this summer and did a tour. But I was outside, and they're like, man, and they was just excited to know that something like this, specifically Black and Brown, is in that neighborhood.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got to meet with the orphanage across the street. We went to the school for the blind across the street. The community members came in and was talking about it. The members of the church came and served lunch every day.
That's beautiful.
You know what I mean? So we don't have any specific target of anybody. And my program is 99.9% Black. That's not, we didn't design that. We don't care what they look like, who they look like. I think I had one mixed kid this year named Addison. and Addison, man, and I'd been knowing her parents. I knew Addison's parents before she was born.
Wow.
And they came and said, man, we bringing Addie to camp. Come on. Last day at camp, that girl cried her heart out.
Wow.
How many kids?
She said, this is my family.
Yeah.
You said about 175?
175 this year.
175 this year. That's crazy.
And that's including James and them who work for me. So
Yeah.
we included those 36 high school kids.
Yeah.
You employed. They put money.
Yeah.
Put money.
James didn't ask for as much money.
Yeah, they work for us.
All the
She
time
said
while he
as
worked.
much.
And I still got the cash out
I remember
request.
my first summer at St. Stephen's, we had 34 kids, of which 21 of them was St. Stephen kids. I didn't know them.
Wow.
You know what I
Really?
mean? Yeah, because the first year I did my summer program, I did it underside. I wasn't a 501c3.
Yeah, I remember
Anthony
that.
Rich, and Latrice
Yeah.
Pendleton, we created a program, and Langston Gaither was over. He's like, man, y'all can work for us.
Langston was there. Yeah.
Right.
And I quickly learned a valuable lesson.
we all
learned
did.
all the lessons.
We all learned all the
That
lessons.
following year, I came back and said, hey, here's my 501c3. Here's how we're going to run this program. And they said, okay, let's make it work.
Yeah.
All right. And, lesson learned.
So how can people find out more information or go to donate? And
Everything is on our website at sowingseedswithfaith.org. SOWING seedswithfaith.org. Everything. Social media, we Sowing Seeds with Faith on Instagram and Facebook. And then my personal Instagram is King Mari, KINGMARRI. Mari, and then Devins is Money Runner. She's also a complete app. Don't let me remix
she's amazing.
She's amazing.
Devin is Sowing Seeds of Faith. If I'm being honest, if you think about everybody that's been successful from even the sports world, the movie world, the politic world, there's always a strong Black woman to the left or the right of them.
Oh, wow. Thanks for
And that's our Devin. And Devin
Yep.
has been instrumental. Along with my board. My board is maybe 11 strong, 8 Black women.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I'm talking about building policy, creating protocols, having an HR department, all of that stuff that I never even thought about doing.
That's
Like,
powerful.
man,
And that's how you
this.
solidify
Come on, man.
and be able to strengthen the work and continue to do the work,
That
because
part.
some of us are just like, we're the generators, we're the doers, but we need those people who are thinking about the policies, the procedures, and to making sure it's safe and making sure that Addison and if I'm an immigrant, I feel just as welcome and
That
just
part.
as safe. And I was telling people that biracial children also need that. Their mentorship is just as
my
important
God.
because they can go either direction because there's a lot coming at them. And as somebody that had a baby at 15, one of the things that happened once I was pregnant, that people just didn't look at me as a teen anymore. They didn't think that, they just figured she's already grown, made her decision, didn't know how my abuse led to that, but still was like really expecting me to be an adult. And then when you're bringing co-ed together, you're bringing young girls, young boys together. And I've heard you talk about having the retreats for the boys and the girls. How have you all dealt with talking about sexuality, dating, how folks should date and interact? And I think a lot of that isn't happening, and it isn't everyone's job. But how have you all set up policies around how those young men and women, young girls and boys interact with each other? And have you had anything that stands out?
So we created this program so we can kind of go against the grain.
Good.
Right? This is a very transparent program. I talk very candid with my students.
Very village style.
Very
bro.
village.
love
Like,
that.
Like dad on the
This
family.
is
That's
it.
He
Yeah.
operates a lot like me.
this
I
is
love
very,
that.
I'm not going to give it to you in sugar candy. We're gonna talk. I'm gonna tell you if you, because the rap music is already 2 steps ahead of you.
It
anyway.
is, right.
Right. You know what I mean? So we are very transparent. We talk about the difference between courting and dating. We talk about monogamy and polygamy.
Yes.
We've also brought in Sherelle Moore, who has a very intimate sex conversation about STDs, about intercourse, about self-pleasure, about toys. I mean, Sherelle is probably going to blow up and be one of the greatest speakers in the city of Louisville.
Wow.
And we bring her in to every retreat, middle school, boys and girls. She come to college sessions, and she has very, very, very transparent conversations about sex. I think United States is the only people we over sexualize sex.
Yes.
Hypersexualized.
I went to
Yes.
Africa for 2 weeks, and you see people breastfeeding in church. You know what I mean? You see women cleaning with no tops on because they don't look at it as sexual. Just I'm comfortable. You know what I mean? So over here, they should rest. I'm gonna match the intensity. So I'm gonna go meet kids exactly where they are. They're gonna learn about it one way or the other. You know what I mean? So you might as well go and get in front of it and give it to them the real, raw, and honest. And I think our kids is gravitated towards that. I think our kids understand that. When we go on these college tours, we have some very true conversation about that. You know what I mean? About what this looks like, and understand. You know, you can't get it back. Once it's gone, you can't get it back.
Yeah, that's right.
And the worst part is once you got it, you can't give it back.
Can't
Right.
give it back. Right.
So understand what you signing up for, and be patient.
Yeah.
And understand that everybody who gets a piece of you has it forever. We also tell kids everything is not for the cell phone.
That's right.
Because you don't want to be that parent. You don't want to grow up and become a parent and somebody's in Kroger talking about what you did at 15 in front of your child.
What your mama did.
Or your video still surfacing 20 years later and your child having to deal with that in school.
That's
Yeah.
right.
All right, it's bigger than you. It's
It
bigger
is.
than me. Everything has to be that. It has to be bigger. It has to be bigger than yourself. You never see a tree eat its own fruit. So everything that comes out of you is for the world to eat off of. It ain't even about you.
Right.
But if you think like that, everybody starts living for everybody else, and we become a better culture.
Yep. And you
well
talk
said.
that way with everything, right? We talk candidly about gangs, streets,
Oh, great.
school grades, right? Your relationship with your parents, because that has a lot to do with mentoring, especially as a black male. And I appreciate the candidness because all kids don't get that, right? Or if they get it at home, they don't have anywhere outside of home to get that, and so that's how a lot of peer pressure happens. Well, mama said that, but now I gotta go test the fire because nobody's telling me outside of mom.
With the helmet on.
But I talk to parents like that.
Yes.
When parents come to our parent meeting, they be like, "Boy, this boy crazy." But parents now understand. You know what I mean? And guess what? You don't have to sign your child up. This is not a one size fits all. But if you sign them up, you know exactly what you're signing up for.
Exactly.
Right.
Because
So
it's
I
a
don't-
village.
I don't
It
want
takes
her
a-
none of
yeah,
that.
it
You know what I
takes
mean?
all of that.
But what I've learned over the years, that's what makes people more attracted. Like, here, I know you in
I
good
trust
hands.
you with my child.
I
now.
know what it is,
Yeah.
and guess what? And I tell people, when your child gets on that road with me, they my child.
Yep.
So you might want to ask my child how I parent at home. But most parents be like,
Yep.
I catch up with, I see you in a week.
They be like, here, beat them.
I want to love them, but I mean, but kids gravitate towards structure.
Yeah.
Yep, they do. Discipline.
Kids like structure.
They do, and people don't think about that. And also with that structure, you also have fun.
Yes.
My son said when we were talking about where to go this past weekend for his brother's birthday, we ended up going to Kings Island, and he was like, I've been to Kings Island, Cedar Point, Holiday World, Kentucky. And he's been to all of the theme parks in the region because of what you all have been able to put together and the transportation that you include. You give ways for more families to engage by providing the transportation, which is a barrier for a lot of people being able to participate. And I'm one of those folks that I believe in that. Your kids go south for the summer or they go visit loved ones. If I'm sending my child with you, I'm sending everything that I am. And that's a level of trust and a level of commitment that is unspeakable. That's beautiful.
One of the most undervalued ingredients to success is exposure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Louisville, I tell people, Louisville is a little bitty old star on a little bit. People think you ask kids what's the capital of Kentucky. Half of them gonna say Louisville.
Yeah.
We just a little bitty peon. I said, man, you got to go to California.
That's right.
And when I'm in airports, man, I'll be in airports and I just people watch.
Yeah.
You know, if you can get the world to about 1% of what you produce,
That's right.
you're successful.
That's true.
You know what I mean? I think about the person who created underwear. They
Right.
got to be a multi-billionaire. Everybody, you know, do I tell my kids, think about something that the whole world's gonna need, not Louisville. Louisville's a piece. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to step outside this box. The exposure part of the world is what really changes kids' life. It's a big world out there. It's a very, very, very big world.
One of the most vital things about your program specifically is the way that you help expose the kids to different things. Man. Take them to different places. We're always traveling. I think it was, what was it, every Friday?
Every Friday,
we
got kayaking and canoeing.
Yes.
You seen 125 black kids get into kayaking canoeing. You see what I'm saying? They like, and they all stand on the side looking like, I don't know about that. Just like, get in.
Right.
And then when they in, now we got, come on, y'all, it's time to get out. Like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? So, horseback ride.
Yes.
Putting kids on a horse and telling kids at the age of 14. We have created one of the best equestrians in the state of Kentucky.
Wow.
I think that was the first time I went horseback riding.
Horseback riding. And this same girl was terrified.
Wow.
Do you hear me? The lady actually bribed us, said, I will ride with you. She's now an equestrian.
Wow.
Black kids in fencing. Yeah. You know, I've been getting text messages all during the Olympics. Like, man, they really, that's an Olympic contest.
Sport, yeah.
And guess who won it? A black girl. The number one, she's a black girl. So kids like, man, Mr. Fleming, tap dancing, black kids, man, that's an art.
That's a lost art too.
Golf.
Yep.
Rest in peace, Gregory Hines.
Golf. Golf. I said, if you play golf as a black kid, you're going to school for free.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Now, pickleball. You're a black kid playing pickleball, you're going to school for free.
Yeah.
I said,
I don't know what it is about pickleball.
I don't know what it is, but man, you just watch, and I watched Tyrese had a little speaker today, man. He's like, man, black people are the most watched culture in the whole world.
Yes,
we dominate any and everything we put our feet in.
It's true,
but yet we can't move as one unit.
Yeah,
the Jewish people literally are influenced by everything we do.
The whole world's influenced by what we do. But yet
we can't own nothing. We can't, collaborate and change policy.
I see that even here on the council.
And then he was on Shay Shay show. He's like, but what? I'm at poverty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Poverty is traumatic. And when you come out of it, you say, man, I ain't never going back.
And the scarcity mentality that it is created, and you're scared to give up something. I think, I can't lift up Dre because that's going to take away from me. And it doesn't work like that. Like, we lift each other up and we hold each other accountable. And then this thing is, I can lift you up and I can hold you accountable.
Yep.
You work with me and I got your back. But if you do something you shouldn't do, I'm going to speak out about that.
On, man.
And I want you to do the same to me.
And it don't have to be a public speak out.
No.
Let me talk to you in this room.
Yeah.
That's how we
come
always
in here
did
and rip your whole head off and walk back out that door and kiss you in front of all the cameras.
And that's our problem, because we always want to have our fights in front of our enemy.
Yeah.
Versus, like my dad taught us, if you and your brothers ever have a disagreement or something, y'all go behind closed doors, y'all work that out, and y'all come out as a unit. Always. Don't, especially in front of your enemies. You never let them see any cracks.
Divisive.
Never let them see any cracks.
Right, so my mother, 4'11". She worked right across the street. She's been over 30 years now. So she started at JCYC in 97. They closed the doors at JCYC. Now she does HIP.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. I probably met her when I did my bail project.
4'11".
30 years?
My mama been 30 plus years.
Hold on, 97 was 27. Don't be putting too much on me. Not too much.
He's 27, so he tried to be 30.
So she been over since and so she's JCYC. She went there, and my mother does not play games, and I'm the baby.
Wow.
And when she talk, you gonna listen.
Yeah.
And if she gotta repeat herself, it's gonna hurt.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you understood. Now, my dad was around conveniently. He did the best dad he knew how to be considering circumstances. But my mother was a force.
Wow.
And everything I am is because of her. My mother just happened the day the HIP office was doing like a commercial to try to recruit people to come apply because they short. And it was my mother. Well, I don't let my mama follow me on Facebook because she does the most.
Yeah.
But
my kids.
So she somebody sent me the video of my mother speaking, and I literally could have closed my eyes and heard myself speaking.
Wow.
my people tell me, man, DaMarrion, you're a great speaker. You're also a speaker, man. Where you get that from? I'm like, man, I think it's a gift, but no, it's not. It came from her.
That's right.
When that's my first time I ever heard my mother ever speak on the camera or anything like that. That's the first time I ever seen her in that realm, and I'm like,
wow.
It makes sense.
That's powerful.
I get that from my
gift is
mom
inherited.
too.
You know what I mean?
I used to see my
You make
mom
sure you go see
teach.
her when you leave.
Yeah, probably not. If I get down there, I never get out. And my mom, I don't drag me to cut you out, but my mom, she loves me. But my mom works in home incarceration program. Mm-hmm. So if you go down in that basement, it's 12 chairs, 7 of them is occupied.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
They are.
And the first thing she said, look, y'all, this is my son. And I'm like, Mama, they not your friends. They trying to get away from you. Exactly. You know what I mean? And then I gotta be in court like, man, ain't your mama Miss Fleming? Like, yeah, bro. Yeah, that's what I'm like. I don't know I don't know if you got in trouble.
You don't know what's coming next. You don't know what's coming next.
I don't know. You know what I mean? So
it's like, yeah, bro. She is
my mom. So what's up? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, but
can go either way.
Yeah. But over history says. My mom, when she worked at JCYC, there were people who see me out public and would just hug me. I'm like, bro, what's up, bro? Like, man, your mama saved my life.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Like, bro, you just did 10 years. He said, because of your mama. If it wasn't for your mama, I'd be doing life under the dirt.
Wow.
So then everything that I do came from that woman.
That's true.
She just did it in a different realm.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? And she wasn't walking around like it's doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
You feel me? So my mama created a village, the unknowing to me that I'm supporting.
That's right.
I got it was in a club one day. I was in an altercation. The dude like, oh, that's Miss Fleming's son. Mm-hmm. Dude like, oh, bro, my fault. I apologize. Because the dude was really saying, your beef ain't with him. It's with me. Because he's walking out of her one way or the other.
Yeah.
And dude like, damn, my fault, bro. I didn't know Miss Fleming was your mom. So I'm like, okay. And my mama got a call like, hey, you good? I'm like, yeah, that was that quick. She said, that fast. Mm-hmm. So my mom has already secured me. She's anointed God has already, she's done it unknowingly in those walls.
I hope my kids get that and feel that's what I'm trying to build with lifting up programs like yours, the work that people like you do, bringing along people who we might not have started together, but we're in this together to build something bigger and better. And it takes all of us. I hope that folks see that because this pulls a lot of time away from family, not just away from this office, but away from other things that I could be doing, right. But I think that my time is so valuable to use whatever door that I'm getting in. We all getting in. We can, and how you walk through the door is up to you, right? If you choose to walk through, if you want to be dragged through, whatever, it is important that you understand that that's an option and an opportunity. I didn't have that. Langston Hughes is one of my favorite poets. He is my favorite poet. And I think about Black Girl Lost, and I was in elementary school reading his poetry and thinking and trying to figure out where I was in the middle of abuse, in the middle of chaos, in the middle of being homeless, all of these things. I still knew that wasn't my permanent station. I knew that there was something else for me. So now being in this elected role, people are like, how do you handle that? I know that as long as I'm being a tool and I'm being a resource, as you mentioned before, that's the best way for me to handle it. But I get overwhelmed when I start to realize and think about all of the things it took to get here. And it's better for me to realize that there's more people that need to be here with us, right? So
they're going to be here one way.
We represent that in so many ways. And this has been powerful. I wanted Ben, because Ben is not just the announcer and the legislative aide. He is an anthropology graduate, and
anthropology.
Yes, very fancy.
What does that mean?
You hire the people that can do the work, right?
What is anthropology?
Study of people has got 4 fields. So cultural. Think of people. Typically, it's thought of as like you go to another culture and you like immerse yourself. So that's cultural, but we've kind of went away from that. Archaeology, so like Indiana Jones, but a lot more ethical.
Gotcha.
Linguistics, and then biological. So like. There's medical anthropology that you do with like bones and human remains. Okay. So
but you cultural.
I'm cultural. I don't be digging in the dirt like that. No shade to my other friend. But yeah, so that's
ew, dirt.
We've definitely immersed him even more in the culture.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So what did you have?
Did you have anything that you want to say or comment about what he says?
Hold on. Why'd you say Indiana Jones, but ethical.
Because what he was
Indiana
doing,
Jones is
Raider
not
of the
ethical.
Lost Ark, Raider of the Two, he was just going to steal stuff.
He was just stealing it before they could steal it.
You got to get permission from the people if you want to go in it. You can't
you
just be digging up grandma and grandpa.
Okay.
and then be mad when the pyramid crashed and all you.
That just makes me look at Indiana differently now.
Oh, he was a colonizer and
Dre, you know how we talk about the whole world and museums and people stealing a whole bunch of stuff from Africa?
Yeah.
That's what Indiana Jones was doing. He's stealing from indigenous.
Okay.
We don't be doing that. Or well, some anthropologists do, but not my kind. But
Got you. It's not my kind.
but what I'm curious about, because a lot of times we go in these neighborhoods and it's a lot of homeowners and older people who continue to just say a lot of really derogatory things about kids and young people. Oh, it's the kids, lock them up, and they need this and they need that. And a lot of times it feels like they don't know of the whole slew of programming, and just because a kid's walking down the street doesn't mean they're doing something. They're not dangerous. They're a kid.
There's a huge generational gap.
Big.
Right?
and it's growing.
It's growing, even especially. I think the digital divide is making it even wider now because, our seniors don't see what we see on the internet, on our phones all day. And so it makes it a lot harder for them to understand what's going on with the youth and why they're at the extremes, that it seems like they're at, versus us who are in the work, and we said, well, it's not really extreme. It's just what's going on today. Right.
That's how I see it too. Like it is bad. It is recorded more. It is documented more. But I do feel like sometimes there are some outliers. There's some youth that are just doing stuff. But sometimes I think it goes back to what DaMarrion was saying. It's like not having the best examples. Mm-hmm. And I feel like even with your age, because I have a daughter that's your age, she's 96. Even with your age, there's some unspoken rules that were transferred to you in some way.
Right.
Whether it's through your parents, your grandparents, and things like that. And we don't have a point of unity of basic understanding. You don't mess with seniors. You don't mess with people's kids. We have that instilled in us because even though my parents were boomers, my father's not with us anymore, but they're boomers, they were like kids are to be seen, not heard.
Right.
That's not the case. Yep. And it created a terrible, abusive atmosphere and culture for a lot of kids. And so then when my mom comes over, because I'm more like, I'm the middle child, and she watches me parent my kids, and she be breathing all deep like, you let them talk like that? I don't feel like they just call me out of my name. I feel like I've taught them to express themselves because I run into too many adults who don't know how to articulate themselves. So when I'm learning and they're learning and we're learning boundaries, I want them to say the things so that we can practice on how you say that respectively, how you do this. And I think that a lot of people haven't understand that the way language has changed, the way we use it, the way we express ourselves. In some African cultures, you don't look people in the eye. I dated a guy from West Senegal before, and it was disrespectful to just stare him in the eye. Well, I've raised all my kids to look at who you're talking to, look them straight in the face.
Yeah, that's what's respectful.
That's what's respectful. Mm-hmm. And so we got to also think about the cultures, the climate that people are in. And so I think that our young people are getting a bad rap. Yeah. All of our young people. Mm-hmm. So when before I even came on council, somebody had contacted me and said, what do you think about a whole countywide curfew? I said, well, that's not for young people. I said, that's not fair to the ones that are working. It will give police more opportunity to racially profile. And who's to say what a young person is doing because they're walking down the street? Right. You don't know if they're coming from worship and faith, DaMarrion's camp. Mm-hmm. You don't know what they're doing. And so for me, we can't put a blanket response on what's happening with our youth. And we also have to take responsibility of where we've let our youth go, where we've gutted programs and services. Denzel Washington talks about Boys and Girl Club. I wouldn't be here without a bunch of YMCA, youth services, Girl Scouts, 4-H Club. Yeah. And that stuff is constantly gutted and gutted and gutted. So now you want them to survive. You want them to not bother you. You want them to clean up. You want them to do this. And then you're not giving them the resources to win with. And that's what I like about sowing seeds with faith, because that's what it is. You're sowing seeds and you're giving them new ways to win, and you're exposing them to opportunities of travel, of art, of business, of finance, of health, of mental stability, and that is powerful. And parents don't always have the capacity, or they don't always have the village like many of us do, to have that set up for them. So what I've always done with each one of my 6 kids is make sure that they have one adult that's not me that they can go to and talk to. And you might be talking about me, I don't care.
Yeah.
I want you to have somebody that you can relate to and talk to, because I'm not, as a mother of 6, I'm not going to be tapped into each one. I'm parenting you because of the things that we're doing. There's some general things, but then there's some particular things about you that I need to make sure somebody else is tapping into.
Yeah.
And Dre, and that's what I said before the mic came on, when Dre has programming, when James found this program, I need that, and I want to support that because I can't meet all those needs.
I think the problem is trying to mop an ocean.
Yeah. Ooh,
Right.
It's a big deal, but I also take a lot of that on.
Yeah.
I tell my youth that what you do is a representation of everybody. And how you carry yourself is a representation of everybody. The older generation is the older generation.
Right.
You ain't changing their mind.
No. No.
So that's why we decided to call it Sowing Seeds with Faith, because if we can sow a seed into a 5, 6, 7, 14, 15-year-old, we then create a culture. There's a generational shift that's going to happen. And in my mind, holistically, I feel like Sowing Seeds with Faith is the generational manifestation of the paradigm shift. And I tell my team that. I tell my board that. They're like, man, that's a lot. I say, so are we.
Right.
We didn't create this. God gave it to us.
That's right.
So all we have to do is be obedient of the things that he's already promised and continue to fight a good fight. But you gotta, it ain't who you fighting, it's who you fighting with. Right? So if you be a conduit and you create the right team and the right people and the right programs, the generational shift is going to happen. You just got to make sure you're on the right side of it. Right. So I don't even combat or compete with seniors. I respect them.
Absolutely.
I think Sowing Seeds with Faith is very adamant about sending out a message. I think our messaging is very clear. I think Dantana does a great job about coming and cultivating the perception of what we do and putting it out there. It, and my Facebook group, like if I got 5,000 friends, I bet 3,000 of them are over the age of 50. And that was intentional.
Yeah.
Because that age also gossips more.
Yeah, they do.
Right? So they spread the word more about what's going on in a good way. Right? My timeline is all positive. Right? So I think we are intentional about sending out the right message to the right messengers, and getting out who we are and what we do and who we do it for, and being consistent about that. I think the older generation has also created a trail for me to follow.
Right.
I think they are trailblazers. They definitely left me some breadcrumbs. I definitely spend a lot of my time talking to people of that age. I love sitting with seniors. Some of my mentors is Al Cornish and Honorable Helton. I mean, these guys 50 plus.
Right.
Because they definitely have the algorithm to success.
And we're the connectors for that.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
The generational gap can only keep existing is if us in these age groups and in the positions that we're in aren't the bridge between the two, right? Because the 14-year-old may not speak to the 87-year-old Miss Jackson on the street, but if we're there, right, then it's like, oh, what's up, Mr. Fleming?
Right.
Hey, well, this is Miss Jackson. Holla, you know, if you need to, I've connected so many. So many youth come up to me, man, I need to get some money in my pocket, Sensei. And I got Miss Jackson, Miss Johnson, who all need their grass cut.
Come on,
you know what I mean? So I've connected in so many ways.
Signs.
You know what
I mean?
mean?
Dropping yard signs.
We do it all.
For all kinds of things. I do put them to work. I do put them to work.
Yeah, I got to put them to work. And then that's how the community starts to get protected again, because now when you in the neighborhood doing your dirt or whatever, y'all being mischievous. Oh no, we can't do it. That's Miss Jackson's house. That's Miss Johnson's home. I know they know my sensei, so they can't see me mess around. You know what I mean? It kind of cleans it up better. So yeah.
So you have thank you for your time with us, and we want to definitely have you back. We want to promote anything you have going on. Mm-hmm. I know that you have gatherings where you invite more people to learn about it. Can you talk about your next event coming up?
Every third Saturday we have what we call Teen Talk Series, which is teenagers between 13 and 19 can come be a part of a group discussion that's ran by teenagers, for teenagers, only for teenagers, and adults can't talk.
All right, I love that.
And then we have our parent meetings every fourth Monday. About 35 to 40 parents come together and have conversations about ways they want to impact the program and things they see that we can and should be doing. We have a college tour coming up for fall break, a college tour for spring break. And then on Thanksgiving, we give out turkeys. We get smoked turkeys from Joy Wagner, and then Back Deck Barbecue smokes them. We give them out at the library on DC Highway behind the tank crossing Burger King.
Yeah, where Shabbat City Council.
Shabbat City Council. We give out there, right there in the library.
We got to support that.
Yeah,
we need to help with that. We
so
want to help
sponsor
sponsor
all the
that.
information for that.
Yeah.
And then we have a middle school retreat the weekend of Thanksgiving. A all girls retreat right at the end of Christmas break, and then the boys retreat is right after Christmas. So we do all those retreats in November, and I get y'all all that information.
Please do.
I was just thinking that we got to combine some things. So I'm taking my kids camping on fall break right outside the city. It's like 30, 40 minutes right outside the city.
Man, I got a few.
We got a brother that has a whole bunch of land, and he just wants to teach kids how to do things that we just
want in on that.
So, we got to start combining, collabing.
Because that high school, the college tour is for 8th grade and up. But with that group you talking about, I got a slew of middle schoolers that ain't got nothing going.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
5th graders too.
I'll get you that information.
Yeah, sure.
We got to start making that link.
And you've had some breakfasts and dinners or something, have you had?
So we had our first gala this year.
Okay.
February the 10th.
That's what I missed.
That was the worst night of my life.
So will you be doing another one?
So everybody's asking because it sold out. So a lot of people didn't get tickets. It sold out a lot quicker than I thought it was going to sell out. Okay. And it was an amazing experience. And my parents' committee did it. We didn't hire nobody.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
Parent committee did everything. Decorations, sound, audio, video. Sean Claiborne did all the music.
Did it end up being a good fundraiser too?
$150,000.
Oh, great. That is amazing.
One night. You know what I mean? So it was awesome. It was a lot. So if they gonna do it, they gotta do it without DaMarrion. I was tired, you know what I mean. But it was everything is supposed to be. So a lot of people
that's the
waiting.
sign of a good
and we
event.
might, and if we don't, it might be an every other year thing.
I like
to
that.
Make it more,
because it's a big thing to put on those kind of events.
It was, and then I never, I prayed for one thing, and then God said, "Let me show you something."
Yep,
that showed out.
Let me show you something. You know what I mean? So we do the parent meeting, the teen talks. We have a parent kickback in December where we just get all the parents together and kind of just socialize and kind of talk about everybody's entrepreneur endeavors and people also whose companies is hiring. They have like a little resume building workshop. Like, look, we're hiring. Here's what your resume need to say, and so on and so forth. So we have a village, man.
Okay. Well, we definitely want to be a part of that village. District 3 wants to be a part of that village. I do in every capacity.
We're glad that you are one of our constituents in the district, man. We got some powerhouses in the district.
We sure do.
That's what we need to start calling the podcast. Powerhouses in the district.
I like
Powerhouse
that.
Podcast.
Powerhouse Podcast.
Yeah. We got a lot of good people.
No.
Hold on, we can't trade.
I gotta find another P.
I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate the opportunity, the platform, and thank you for being a blessing in the community, man.
Can you give your website again for
Sowing?
folks?
Yep, Sowing Seeds with Faith. SOWING seedswithfaith.org.
All right, there you have it. Powerful powerhouse. DaMarrion Fleming came here, brought the knowledge. He might stop by and see his mom, but let's give her a shout out if you see her for us. And thank you for joining us, and we'll have you back. And please share anything you want us to share in a newsletter, or anything you want us to share with other families that have youth.
I got you. We're gonna send it to Dre. Okay. Get that. Again, everything is on our website and on our social media, and we'll put stuff out in almost a month in advance because it fills up quick.
Yes, it does.
Quick.
Thank you.
I'm bringing Dynasty to camp next year.
I'm bringing my son Jaden, and thanks for looking out for James.
For sure.
We'll be back.
And everything that you give us, we'll put on the website. So make sure you check the District 3 website. Again, we thank Mr. Fleming, DaMarrion, for joining us. We thank Councilwoman for taking out her time to coming out and doing the podcast.
Ben said she only came because you here.
We appreciate y'all, man.
We appreciate everybody. Peace and love.